Hey, hey everyone. Welcome on board. This is Anna. Hi everyone. Say hi in the chat if you can see me and if you can hear me as well. Hi there. Hi everyone. Let's do the microphone and video test first before we dive into learning new things. Hi. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Yeah, awesome. I think I figured out the tech part of the webinar here. Amazing, amazing. Well, welcome on board. I'm glad that you guys could make it, and I suppose that everyone is really interested to learn more about job interview. Yeah, job interview questions, and not only that, I'm pretty sure you are intrigued and interested to learn about common mistakes when at a job interview or in a job interview, I should say. So yeah, welcome everyone. I was supposed to have a guest speaker today, but unfortunately, Lena could not join me today because she is traveling, and unfortunately, when you're traveling, you cannot really predict what's going to happen. Hope things are okay. But anyways, guys, I decided not to cancel today's stream, and I decided to still have the stream, to still have this webinar, and share with you talk about top mistakes when answering job interview questions, and generally top mistakes when in a job interview. I hope you don't mind, and I hope you're ready to dive into this discussion with me. Another thing that I want us to do today, I want this hour to be absolutely valuable for you. That is why, please feel free to ask me your questions. I will be answering questions as we go, and I will also be answering questions at the end of our webinar. Okay. Yeah, I hope you're not super sad that we're not gonna have a guest, but I know, and I'm sure Lena will be back and will be sharing her valuable experience with us another time. Yeah, so speaking about job interview, right? Since we are here to prepare for a job interview, it's good to know what not to do. Yeah, so we have already talked a lot about what you should do in order to nail a job, yeah, at an interview. And now let's talk about what you should not do, yeah, when in a job interview. Also, there's one more rule that I want you to follow during this webinar. I want you guys to take notes of like things that I mention, and I want you to take notes of the highlights for you. And I want you to share these notes in the chat as you go, right? So you can just listen to me and write down like some insight or some idea that you just heard, or something that you found useful that I just said, or a takeaway. Yeah, what is a takeaway? A takeaway, it's a piece of information that you learn, for example, during the webinar, or during a lesson, or during a presentation. Yeah, so something that you can take away with you. Yeah, so please write down in the chat the takeaways that you can find while like in this webinar. This way, I will tell you why I'm asking you to do this. I don't want you just to have the listening practice here. I want you to be completely engaged. Yeah, and I want you to get more. So when you write those takeaways and highlights in the chat, you will learn more. Yeah, you will learn more, you will memorize more, and you will practice English. Yeah, not just passively practicing it, but actively practicing it. Because at the end of the day, we're here to what? We're here to debug your English, right? Debug your English. So that is why let's practice together. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to mention here, the first thing regarding common mistakes at a job interview, it's when you share too much information that is not really relevant or not really necessary, right? So, for example, when the first question at the job interview, yeah, tell me about yourself. And when answering this question, you don't have to share the information that your potential employer, recruiter, HR, or hiring manager, or just the manager, whoever interviews you. When you answer that question, tell me about yourself, you really don't need to talk about to mention the information that they already have, that they already see on your CV, on your resume, right? So this information is not like you don't really need to repeat that because they already know that. And the thing is that if you just repeat this information, it's not going to be impactful. You're not going to make any interesting impression. But like the question, tell me about yourself, is really actually important for us because this is the time to shine. Yeah, this is the time to shine for you, because if you prepare a proper answer to this question, you can impress your speaker, the other person. Yeah, you can impress the hiring manager right away, and you can make this very impactful first impression, and they will remember you. That is why things that you should not say answering the question, tell me about yourself. Don't talk about your hobbies. Don't talk about your children. Don't talk about your wife or husband. Yeah. Don't talk about how old you are. Don't talk about where you are from. This information is not relevant because they already know this about you. Instead, if you want to properly answer, tell me about yourself question, you need to prepare elevator pitch, a personal elevator pitch. Yeah, you need to prepare an elevator pitch, and in this elevator pitch you have to mention things that make you different as a professional. Yeah, that make you stand out as a professional. This is what you need to do, and this is very important. If you don't know what a personal elevator pitch is, I can say, by the way, do you know what a personal elevator pitch is? Please share with me in the chat if you know or if you don't know. Because if you don't know, I have a feeling that you haven't watched all my videos on YouTube, yeah? Or you don't watch all the videos that I post here. So if you don't know that, please feel free to browse the list of all the videos that I have on my YouTube channel. And I will assure you, there is a video where I talk about what the personal elevator pitch is. Yeah, but technically, this is a professional, like a very professional, structured presentation of yourself. So that is why forget about talking about things like hobbies, kids, family, I don't know, whatever. Pitch yourself. Yeah. Focus on yourself. Yeah. So this is the most important, because when you go to a job interview, yeah, when you have to answer questions, answer job interview questions, you need to focus on yourself. Yeah. Nobody else, just you. You are the center. Well, actually, not only in the job interview, in your life, the center of attention of your life is you, right? Not other people. Yeah. Not your family, you. Yeah. That's very important. There was another thing that I wanted to mention here real quick. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Yeah. So I see some of you know what a personal elevator pitch is. Some of you don't know what it is, but it's a really important skill to learn. And actually, guys, my course, my flagship course, flagship means the most important and the most popular. It's called flagship. Flag, like flag, and ship, like a ship in the sea, right? Transportation. Oh my God. Yeah, transportation. Yeah, flagship course, English for Tech. In the first module, during the first week of the course, I teach you how to prepare a professional and proper elevator pitch. Yeah, personal elevator pitch. And I'm really happy that this skill really helps my students to nail a job interview. And not only that, because you need to use personal elevator pitch when you introduce yourself at a networking event, or when you're hired and you join a new team, you need to again introduce yourself in a proper way. And this is when you need to pitch yourself. Even when you go to party, you need to pitch yourself. Yeah, so that's very important. Okay. Okay, I remembered what else I wanted to share with you. Have you noticed how I pronounce the word answer job interview questions, or the topic of our webinar, top mistakes when answering job interview questions? Like when I say the word answer, which letter is silent? Which letter is silent here? Let me know in the comments. Remember, I am not about lecturing you. I mean, not I'm about, my webinars are not about lectures. My webinars are about practicing. Yeah, not lecturing, but practicing. So please, full attention, and let's practice in the comments here. Yeah, I'm not saying W. I'm not saying and swear. And this is the most common mistake. Yeah, this is the most common mistake that people make. You have to say answer. Yeah. Okay. So by the way, speaking of pronunciation, I get this question all the time. Was like last week I had an Instagram stream, and people ask me, like many people ask me this question. By the way, guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, feel free to follow me. You can see my Instagram handle. By the way, this is what it's called, Instagram handle. Like in English, we don't say Instagram nickname, we say Instagram handle. My Instagram handle is on the screen, English underscore. Yeah, English underscore. All right. So, and a few people ask me, like, Anna, how can I improve my pronunciation? And this is what you can do. The first thing that you can do, first of all, you need to notice how other people speak, and specifically how native speakers speak, right? So, for example, right now, you're listening to me. Please start noticing interesting things in my pronunciation. For example, answer job interview questions. You should have noticed that I say answer and not answer. Yeah, because like a lot of people say that. That is why, if you want to improve your pronunciation, start noticing interesting things about the way native speakers say words, yeah, or their intonation, or how they pronounce certain sounds. And this way, when you start noticing these interesting things, you will be able to repeat them, yeah, to say the same things, or correct your mistakes. Because if you notice that I say answer, you should have thought, like, you should have questioned this, and you should have asked me a question in the chat, like, Anna, why do you say answer and not answer, for example, right? All right. So yeah, if you want to improve your pronunciation, make sure you focus and you notice things. All right. So another mistake when answering a job interview question or job interview questions is when you answer the question, tell me about your weaknesses. Yeah, what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths? And the thing is, when talking about your weaknesses, right, it's important not to overshare about your weaknesses. When I say overshare about your weaknesses, I mean it's important. I mean, it's don't be too honest about this, right? Don't be too honest, because I mean, obviously we all have weaknesses. I mean, if you think that I am perfect and I'm so confident and my English is great and things like that, no, of course I also have my weaknesses, right? For example, if I go if I have to be a speaker at the conference, I have to speak in English. Of course, I speak English every day. It's not like it's just like my native language. Yeah, I think in English. I don't know. I do everything in English, but still, I am going to be stressed out because I'm going to be a public speaker. Yeah. However, when you are in a job interview, talking too honestly, like too honestly about your weaknesses and about your insecurities, yeah, what is insecurity? Insecurity is like when you are not confident, yeah, like your fears technically, yeah. This is not a good idea because a job interview is not a therapy session, yeah. If you need a psychologist, if you need a shrink, by the way, another word for a psychologist is a shrink. If you need a shrink, yeah, you can have a therapy session, but it's not a job interview. That is why the best way to answer this question is just pick choose a skill, yeah, pick a skill that is not completely terrible, yeah. And also it's really important to pick a skill that is not a key skill for this job, yeah. So for example, if in the job description they say we're looking for a person who can work independently, yeah, because we're a remote team, blah blah blah. And for example, this is one of the key things that they are looking for in an applicant. And in a job interview, say, oh, one of my weakness is that I really need a team to work well. What? No, bad move, bad move. You don't say that, right? And so like choose a skill that is not completely terrible, and that is not a key skill for this position. And when you talk about this skill, it's important to mention how you are planning to improve it. So when you answer, so this is another mistake, when you answer the question, what is your weakness, or what are your weaknesses, it's not enough just to talk about what your weakness is. It is also important to follow up, yeah, to say how you're planning to improve it, how you're planning to work on it, and things like that. So this is what you need to focus on, right? And generally, I mean, let me just jump ahead a little bit. Let's imagine that you have already been hired, yeah, they offered you a job and you started working with an international team, or as part of an international team. And this is another very important skill, very important effective communication technique that you should use in order in order to avoid miscommunication and in order to be on the same page with your team. Whenever you're talking about something negative, like a mistake that the team made, or maybe you made this mistake, or somebody else made a mistake, yeah, or something didn't work well, or you failed, yeah, like the team that failed, it's important to, of course, state what the problem was. But moreover, it's important to follow up and mention what can be done in order to avoid this situation in the future. Yeah. So in English, effective communication in business English is very, very open and very detailed. Yeah. Like, again, if we compare with other cultures, like, for example, European cultures, like especially Northern Europe, or Eastern Europe, for example, it's a little bit different. In English, we over communicate, and especially not only in English. If you want to be productive, if you want to be an effective communicator, you need to over communicate things to your team. Yeah, over communication means you have to give as much detail in the discussion as possible. And kind of the same here, when you answer job interview questions, make sure you give full answers, yeah, not just like quickly answer the question and that's it. Make sure you can give a full answer, and make sure you say everything that they want to hear, yeah. Because again, the first rule that you need to remember about effective communication, right, and the rule that will help you, make friends, make connections in the easy way: think about the other person first and then about yourself. Because again, I say this all the time, but I would like to repeat this in case we have new people watching this stream. By the way, for all the new people, make sure you follow this channel so that you receive notifications every time I post a new video lesson. Yeah, so make sure you follow English for IT channel, and make sure you give this video a thumbs up. All right, so rule number one: if you want to be an effective communicator, think about the other person first. Yeah. Think about what they need. Think about how you can meet their needs, right? Think about what you have to say or what you can say, considering what they want to hear. And this is a very important thing. This is a very big mistake that people make when answering job interview questions, or even like in the job interview in general. You only think about what you want to say. But this is a mistake. This is probably the first mistake. You have to think what they want to hear from you, and you have to be very strategic about this. What I mean is that, again, read the job description, highlight the keywords, highlight the key items in like requirements, for example, right? And when answering job interview questions, make sure you think about these requirements, make sure you think about these items that they included in the job description, and you say them as well. This is very strategic, and this way you will show that, first of all, you're prepared, you know what they're looking for, and you have it. You can give it to them. Does it make sense? Yes and no? Yes and no. Okay, yeah. So over communicating is key here. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone who is taking notes and sharing the notes in the chat. This is very valuable, and I am super, super excited to see this. I'm super excited that you decided to spend this hour practicing with me, not just listening, but actually doing things. Remember, every time you type in a word in English, this is the time when your brain thinks in English. And I'm pretty sure everyone now watching this stream wants to start thinking in English. Yeah, not just translating their thoughts from their native language, but also think in English. All right, so moving on. Over communicating is key, absolutely. And of course, yeah, giving full answers is another key, right? Like make sure you say everything they want to hear from you. Another thing that I want you to know about, when answering job interview questions, is it is not a good idea to be vague. Vague means unclear. Yeah, to be vague, or to give general answers, right? So if a job interviewer asks you a specific question, make sure you give a specific answer. Moreover, these specific questions may require you to give specific examples. And here, again, if you have ever taken my English for Tech courses, you know about this technique. It's called a STAR technique, right? This is when you give like a specific information. This is when you give specific examples, and you technically, describe the situation. Yeah, like you answer the question, giving an example of a situation, or talking about a specific case where you can show that, for example, you had this skill, or you had this technique, and things like that. So what is a STAR technique? Let me just put it here. STAR. It's actually not related to stars in the sky. It's an acronym. What is an acronym? Acronym is a word that is created using the first letters of the phrase, right? So a STAR technique, this is when a STAR technique is a method of responding to a behavioral-based interview questions. What is a behavioral-based? A behavioral-based question, these are the questions that want to test how you act in certain situations, or how you react to certain situations or to certain circumstances, and things like that, right? So when you use this method, this is how you structure. So a STAR technique is the way to structure your answer. So number one, you talk about situation. So S stands for a situation. Yeah. So you describe a situation. What happened? Then you describe a task, what you needed to do in this situation. So T is for task. Then you talk about an action. Action is what you actually did in this situation. Yeah. And then you talk about the result of the situation that you are describing. Yeah. So finally, what happened in the end? What was the outcome? What was the result of your actions and in this situation? And I believe that this is the only correct way to answer behavioral based job interview questions. Yeah. So what are these behavioral based job interview questions? So when they ask you, like, tell me about the time. So a behavioral interview question always, not always, but frequently starts with the tell me about a time. Yeah. Tell me about a time when you had to work under pressure. Or tell me about the time when you had a disagreement inside the team. Or tell me about the time when you did not meet the deadline. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you following me here? Everyone is silent, so I don't know. Is the connection stable, or you're just like, wow, Anna, what are you sharing? You never knew this information. Yeah. Yeah. So, and here to answer this question, you need to actually use the STAR technique. Yeah. So the situation. One time I had an argument with my teammate. Yeah. What was the task? We had to solve the argument, blah, blah, blah. Like, what did you do? Was the action? We had a one-on-one meeting where we discussed this and that. And the result, we worked out the way of communication for future reference so that we don't end up in disagreement again, for example, right? So technically, you need to say 4 sentences when you answer this question. And each sentence will correspond to a particular letter. STAR, in the STAR method. Yeah. Situation, task, action, and result. So this is what happens. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, thank you very much for following me. Yeah. Make sure you guys give it a follow. Give my channel here a follow, and follow me on Instagram as well. All right. So moving on. Another mistake when you have to answer job interview question is probably something that you would not like hearing from me now. But I still have to say it because I want you guys to be successful. Preparation, poor preparation. For example, when you come to a job interview and when answering questions, it turns out that you don't remember the name of the company, or you say the wrong name of the company, or I don't know, you're not prepared. Like, you have an online interview, you're not prepared, like it's super loud in the background, or it's like I don't know, super dirty. You look dirty, or you look, I don't know, like your hair is messy, like you are not prepared. You are not prepared, not only to answer, but like your look and your setting. Yeah. Your setting, what's around you. I mean, this is a real turn off. Yeah. Turn off. It's like, I don't want to deal with you after this. Like, I don't want this. I don't want to work with people. Like, nobody wants to work with people who are unprofessional. And you might be an amazing coder, for example, right? If we're talking about software engineers, you might be an amazing coder. This is great. But at the end of the day, the most important thing about you is not your coding skills. It's your it's the fact that you are a human being. So the first thing that we judge when they meet you is that you are a human being, and then your professional skills. And here, actually, again, I would like to highlight the importance of soft skills. Coming unprepared to a job interview shows the level of your soft skills. If you're not prepared, your level of soft skills is really low. And trust me, this is a very, very, very bad for your job interview and for you in general, because the level of soft skills can really, you know, help you stand out from the crowd. Because there are a lot of people who actually they don't even know what soft skills are, they don't care, and that's why they come to a job interview sessions unprepared. I don't know, messy hair, messy surroundings, I don't know, they forget the name of the company, they forget the name of the person, their interviewee, and things like that. And and if you remember about the importance of soft skills, you're not going to end up in these situations. And what of course, you will definitely be on top of the list for this company. That is why it's important that you prepare. And not only that, it's important that you prepare your setting and yourself, of course. And prepare for job interview questions as well. I mean, guys, seriously, you have google.com, right? Just go to google.com, type in search top 10 job interview questions, and you will have thousands of hundreds of, I don't know, million websites with the list of popular job interview questions. Prepare your answers. Again, I'm not saying that you have to write down your answers to these questions, to these popular questions. I'm not saying that you have to, I don't know, learn these answers by heart. No, but at least I want you to sit down and even talk to yourself, trying to answer these popular job interview questions. This is what you can do, and this is what I would do, definitely. If you can't get a teacher for a few sessions. This is technically what we do at English for IT when people come to us and ask us to prepare them for a job interview. I typically recommend that they take a few private sessions with the teacher. At English for IT, we have a teacher who specializes in preparing people for a job interview. So take a few lessons with the teacher and prepare yourself for a job interview, for different situations, how to answer different questions. But if you don't have that opportunity, or if you don't want to do this, at least you can sit down in front of the camera, just like right now I'm sitting here in front of you. But don't do a live stream, just sit in front of the camera and start practice answering job interview questions. So this is what you can do. Absolutely. This way you will be prepared. When you are prepared, you are less nervous. And we know that when we are nervous, this is when things go down the hill. This is when things don't go the way we want them to go. That is why preparation is key. You can even rehearse. It's like, if you are an actor, before going on stage in front of the big audience, you need to practice, and it's called rehearse. So you can rehearse in the bathroom, in front of the mirror. Or not, it doesn't have to be a bathroom, it can be any other room in your house, but just like you can be in front of the mirror and start practicing answering job interview questions. Okay, now another mistake that I notice people make when answering job interview questions is when you ramble too long answers. You ramble, it means like right? So you ramble too long answers, and you don't give a chance for the interviewer to you don't give the interviewer a chance to ask you questions, or I don't know, to make some comments, right? It also happens usually when you are super nervous. That is why I'm telling you, prepare. Yeah, prepare for your job interview. Practice answering questions so that you are not so nervous, and so that you can also see how long your answers are. Because, like I said, your answer should not be super short. Yeah, it has to be informative and full, but also like it doesn't have to be super long, because when you say too many words, the interviewer will not remember anything that you said. Yeah, because you gave too much information, and our brain cannot just store so much information. That is why your answer should be up to the point. And please be mindful of time. And technically, remember that you don't need to say a lot. You just need to say enough. And I feel that this is what happens a lot with the English learners, yeah, with non-native English speakers. When you have to answer a question, you feel that you have to say more and more and more and more. No, you don't have to say a lot. You just have to say important things, yeah? You just have to say enough to give them enough information, yeah, and like just to share enough with them. Yeah. Another thing, I think somebody here in the chat mentioned about lying here. Let me find this comment. Tell them what they want to hear. Yeah, that's a good comment here. Tell them what they want to hear, but not lying. It's true. And this is my next point. This is a rookie mistake. Yeah, this is a rookie mistake, that when you lie, you can't lie. I mean, you can't. Yeah, it's like, it's never good. Yeah, it's never good. You have to be candid. Candid means honest. Yeah. You have to be candid, and really, like, lying is not a good idea. And technically, if like, usually people lie when they think that if they tell the truth, the interviewer is not going to like it, or if they tell the truth, they will look less professional. Yeah. So, for example, let's say if they ask you if you can use a particular technology, right? For example, let's say you are applying for a position of a junior project manager, and they ask you if you can use Jira software, yeah? Or any other software like Trello or whatever, any other software. And you actually can't. I mean, you can, but you've never used it. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone can learn how to use this software, but it's the matter of like whether you've used it before or not, right? What are you gonna say? Well, definitely, you know that if you try using it, you will be able to figure it out. And here you kind of like, devil and angel here. So in this situation, I would be just honest, and I would just say, to tell you the truth, I have never worked with Jira, but I'm pretty sure it's just any other software like this and this and this. I'm pretty sure if I start using it, I will figure it out. I don't think I will have any problems. And here you can also mention, for example, how you will learn it. Another thing, when they ask you about something that you don't know, or you've never done before, or like technology that you've never used before, it's a good idea to well, first of all, yeah, be honest, like tell the truth, but also tell them your plan, your action plan. Yeah, talk about your action plan, how you're planning to figure it out, or how you're planning to start using it. Yeah, like what are you gonna do? You're gonna use well, you're gonna watch free YouTube videos, for example. You're gonna read tutorials. Like, just like tell them exactly what you will do in order to tackle this problem. And this is another thing that I mentioned earlier today. Yeah, like over communicating. Yeah, give detail, as much detail as possible, right? Because it's not a problem that you don't know something. it's a problem that you can't learn it, then it's a problem. Yeah. But if you say that, okay, I don't know this, but this is what I'm going to do in order to learn more about it, that's the whole different story. That's a whole different story. And I hope you agree. Yeah. I hope you agree. And I hope now you will, think about this. So it's not bad not to know something. It's bad not to want to learn something. Yeah. Okay. And finally, one more thing that one more thing, or one more thing, yeah, technically, that you need to focus on when preparing for job interview questions. And generally, one of the top mistakes, it's when you don't ask questions in a job interview. Yes, job interview is a two-way street. It means that the company wants you as much as you want the company. Yeah. Or as little as you want the company. Really depends. But it's not about the company. It's not about the company interviewing you. It's also about you interviewing the company. So if in a job interview, you never ask at least one question, you don't ask at least one question, it's really bad. It's a bad sign. It's a sign that you're not interested. It's a sign that you're not prepared. It's a sign that you're not professional. It's a sign that you don't care. Oh, wow. I feel like I just rhymed it. Maybe we can do, like, who can create some beat for me? And this is going to be a really good rhyming TikTok or something. Yeah. So it's a bad sign in any case. That is why, please, you should have at least one question, or maybe better 2 or 3 questions that you can ask the interviewer about the company, about the project, about the team, about anything technically. Yeah, about anything that is relevant in this position or in this situation, and things like that. And for these guys, I have found an interesting and useful resource. I'm going to share this resource in the comments now. So this resource about job interview questions, again, feel free to check it out. Save this and check it out later after our webinar, and hopefully it can help you when preparing for a job interview questions. Yeah. And one more thing. Like I said earlier, one of the mistakes that we all make, this is when we decide not to practice common job interview questions. Like I said, you have google.com, you can find the list of questions that are typically asked at a job interview. Again, don't write your answers to these questions. Don't learn them by heart. Yeah. Just practice saying them. Yeah. Just like have a plan what you would say. And to be honest, here are the things that you need to practice before the job interview, because they will most definitely ask you about these things. Please write this down. Number 1, prepare your personal elevator pitch. Prepare your personal elevator pitch so that you can properly answer "tell me about yourself" question. Very important. Number 2, prepare to talk about a time when you achieved something, or a time when you had to solve a difficult problem, because I'm pretty sure they will they will ask you, or they frequently ask the question when they to talk about the time when you need to solve a difficult situation or your achievement. Yeah. So technically, tell me about the time when you achieved something great at work. So this is like the good thing. Yeah. Talk about your strength. Tell me about the time when you had to solve a challenging problem. Yeah. What did you do? What was the problem? And blah, blah, blah. Next, prepare to talk about the time you had to work as part of the team. Every company looks for a team player. And if you put on your resume, "I am a good team player," don't even put this on your resume. Because when you say that, it doesn't mean anything. It's useless. You have to prove it. And at a job interview, you will get the question, yeah, tell me about the time when you had to work as part of the team. And this, you need to prepare, you need to think of the situation that you had in the past when you did something together as a team that will show that you are a good team player. Remember, answering these questions, tell me about the time you achieved something, tell me about the time you solved a challenging problem, tell me about the time you had to work as a part of the team. These questions require a STAR technique answer. Yeah. STAR technique. We talked about this earlier. One more thing, prepare to talk about the time when you received a difficult feedback. This is a very important question. I actually ask this question all the time when interviewing people for my team. It's really important for me to understand how the person accepts feedback, negative feedback, or even positive feedback, right? So for example, let's say when you made a mistake, you did something wrong, and your manager had to communicate about this with you, yeah, and had to deliver difficult feedback. And this is, again, think of the situation when it happened to you, and again, talk about the situation using a STAR technique. And yeah, so technically prepare to talk about these situations, and you'll be good. You'll be good. Let me share these with you. And I would say that whenever you need to prepare for a job interview, just go back to this list and make sure you know what to say about these situations. Yeah. To summarize, let's recap what we have here. I love it. I love it. Perfect timing. So, number one, don't share too much personal information. Instead, prepare a personal elevator pitch. Number two, don't overshare about your weaknesses. It's not important, it's not necessary to talk about your insecurities and your weaknesses. Instead, you should pick what? You should choose a skill that you are not terrible at and that is not a key skill for this job. Number three, don't be too vague or general when answering questions. When they ask you a question about a specific situation, give a specific answer. And when you're talking about a situation, use a STAR technique when answering. Number four, poor preparation. Make sure you're prepared for this interview. Nice hair, nice looks, shaved, nice background, no noise, and things like that. Number five, don't ramble, don't ramble long answers. Make sure your answer is informative, but not super long. Yeah, don't give unnecessary information. Number six, don't lie. Yeah, don't lie in job interview. Be honest, but be prepared. Be prepared and make sure when you answer, your answers work for you, not against you. But you can achieve that if you prepare properly. Number seven, ask questions. The interview is a two-way street. They ask you questions, you ask them questions. It's really important. And number eight, yeah. Number eight, practice common job interview questions. Yeah, prepare your answers for common job interview questions and rehearse. Yeah, rehearse with the teacher or on your own in front of the camera. This will also be very helpful. Yes, with the teacher, it's better because with the teacher, you get feedback about your mistakes or like some other, tips. When you're practicing on your own in front of the camera, you don't get any feedback from a person here, but at least you can practice to be less nervous in the job interview. And another thing, you can also hear your mistakes. You can also notice your mistakes. And also when you're practicing in front of the camera, even on your own, you become more confident, yeah, and you become, you practice public speaking, even though you're not speaking in front of other people, but speaking on camera, this is also public speaking, and it definitely makes you a better speaker. So these are my recommendations here. Now, I think I'm ready to address your questions. Please share your questions. We have a few minutes left, and I would love to discuss with you guys more. And please share your questions in the chat. I will be happy to answer them. Yay, awesome. Yeah, like here, Yulia says, have one or three questions about the company, the team, any relevant questions. Yeah, it can be the company, the team, the project, or anything else that is relevant. Yeah. All right. So Elena is asking, as far as I understand, this question is about correct grammar, how to say correctly, to give a detailed answer, elaborate on yeah, elaborate on this, like on a topic or like on an action item, elaborate on your answer. Yeah, elaborate on your questions, like elaborate on your answer. I mean, I'm not sure what you're asking here. Are you asking about correct grammar? So you just need to use article a, give a detailed answer. And then, for example, if you want to ask someone to give you more details, you can say, can you elaborate on this? So this is this is how you typically say, can you elaborate on this a little bit more, please? Or can you elaborate on your question a little bit more, please? Or can you elaborate on this topic a little bit more, please? Okay, what questions can I ask my employer? Well, like I said, you can ask your employer, your potential employer, about the company, like interesting things about the company. You can ask about the team. You can ask about the project. For example, when you ask about the project, let's say, you just like asking a direct question, can you give me more details about the project I will work for? Yeah, things like that. Or what are the key tasks that I will be working on in the near future? Yeah, really, it really depends what's important for you. For example, if you can also ask questions about the position you're applying for. You can just directly ask, why is this position open? Like, do you want to know, because like you want to know whether they fired someone or this is a new position, for example, so yeah, feel free to ask that question. If you want to ask about the team, you can say, you can say how many people are on the team, or what roles do you have on the team? Yeah. Or you can say, I don't know, is the team completely remote, or like who works on the team, like where are the people from on the team, like if this is an international team. So things like that I think will be pretty good to ask. You can also ask about work conditions, like what type of employment contract do you have, or I don't know, you can ask about the salary, like does the company practice, does a company have a practice of salary review? Yeah, because you want to know, some companies, they review salary every year, some companies don't review salary every year, once a year. So yeah, think I can ask about that. Also, you can ask about the company, like how would you describe the company's corporate culture? It's really important, actually. When you ask this question about corporate culture, it shows that you have values. You're not gonna work for like any random company. You are interested to work for a company with a certain company culture. Yeah, so like please ask them about the company culture. Well, I think I gave you so many examples here. I hope you I hope you wrote them all down, and now you don't need to stress out when you prepare for a job interview. You can just you can just like shoot these questions that I just told you. Um, how many interviews, Mikhail? How many interviews per week is okay? I don't really understand your question. As many as you can have, as you want to have, like as many as you have energy for. I don't think that there is like an okay number of interviews. It's just important. It's the matter of like how many you can handle. If you can handle 5 interviews, like a 1 interview per day, go for it. If you want to do 2 interviews per day, go for it. Like really, it really depends on you, I would say. Nutella, thank you. There are so many tips in this video. Of course, my pleasure. I'm really happy that you found the time to join, and I'm really happy that you found it useful. Make sure you share this video with your friends or on social media, guys. I will be really thankful. I am personally investing a lot of my energy and my knowledge. I share my knowledge. I love this, and I would, of course, appreciate your support. So feel free to share this video on Instagram or on Facebook. Make sure you tag me so I can repost you and make you famous too in my blog. And the key thing here is to help as many people as possible to learn this information so that it's not a problem for you to nail a job interview. So thank you very much for your kind words and appreciate your support. Uh, is it okay to ask about salary? Of course, because everyone knows that you work for money, and this is your primary reason to work. People who don't want who don't work for money, they don't work well. Anna has had her company for 15 years, and if you come to a job interview, I mean, with me, and you say like, I'm not really interested in money, I'm interested in professional growth, blah 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 blah, I'm not interested to work with you. Because if you're not interested in money, it means that you don't have a primary motivation. Yeah, of course, self-development, like career development, is important, but like, guys, we work for money. There has to be an exchange. That's why don't be yeah, I mean, of course the company understands that you applied for a job to be paid. So that's why, please ask about salary, ask about the salary. How much do you pay? How much am I going to get? And things like that. Absolutely. Another question, yeah, like this, guys, like you see, money, the money questions, yeah, or questions about the money are tricky, but they actually shouldn't be tricky because you are afraid to talk about money if your self-esteem, self-evaluation is low. When your self-esteem is low, yeah, what is self-esteem? This is how you value yourself. If you undervalue yourself, you are afraid to talk about money because you're afraid that they will not give you what you want. But you shouldn't be afraid to talk about money. I mean, like, you won't be afraid to talk about money if you know your worth, if you know your value. So if you're afraid to talk about money in a job interview, you need to work on yourself. You need to improve your self-esteem, and you need to work on your confidence. You need to become more confident about your skills, about your professional skills. And here I would like to recommend you a book that is called I Am Enough. If you need to work on your self-esteem and your self-value, please read this book. Marisa Peer or Pear. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, you can Google it and find it. All right. Yeah. All right, guys, I see no more questions here. So let's wrap up then. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you learned a lot. I hope I could motivate you to move forward. And I hope I shared something that can help you become more confident when preparing for a job interview or when actually being in a job interview. If you have any other questions, suggestions, or comments, feel free to ask them. Just join my Telegram community. On Telegram, this is how you can find me. Let me share the let me share the link with you to my Telegram channel. We also have a chat there, so don't be a stranger. Reach out. We are almost actually 5,000 people on Telegram. So invite your friends who are learning English, who work in tech, or they don't want to. I mean, even if they don't want to work in tech, maybe they want to work in tech in the future. Feel free to share this resource with them. Also, I want you to become friends with me on social media. And another thing that you can do here. Okay, let me share my socials with you. Another thing that you can do is we have a blog at English for IT. So feel free to read our blog on Medium. We usually share some useful tips, just like, job interview and job interview preparation tips, or how to become an effective communicator. Yeah, so follow me on medium.com. I shared the links here in the chat. And yeah, you will be up to date, getting new knowledge, getting new information. And let me know if you want to join any of my English for Tech or general English courses. Again, under this video, I will share links to join top courses, flagship courses to improve your English for IT and also general English. Maybe you work in IT, but you might work in IT, but your friends might not work in IT. They can still come and learn from me, taking my general English courses. Yeah, at this point, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for being so active in the chat. Thank you very much for taking notes and learning with me. Hopefully, I want to do another stream next week, probably at the same time. I want to develop a new habit. I decided that this month I'm going to work on developing new habits. And one of the habits that I want to have, I want to learn. I want to do more live streams on YouTube. That's why make sure you subscribe to my channel. And next time I schedule a live stream, you get a notification, and you will know when we are meeting with you live. All right, till the next time. Bye, everyone. Have a good one. Bye.